Welcome to Reading with the Pastor, Take 8, or, Chapter 8. We're reading Dana Ortland's book, Gentle and Lowly. The subtitle is The Heart of Christ for Sinners and Sufferers. And we're making our way through it. Mm-hmm. It's been very enjoyable, but before we get into this chapter, a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you organize your books?
So, at home we have 3 shelves, I think. 3 shelves of books.
3 bookshelves?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
2 of those are mine, one of them is Rachel's. And mine is by subject.
By subject, okay. And that's generally, if you see behind us, how I have my books here at the office are arranged by subject. Sometimes I'm tempted to do it as I've seen in pictures by color. All of the spines that didn't do anything for you?
Why?
Well, it's visually interesting. I don't know if it's appealing, but it's visually interesting.
You can get art to be visually appealing.
That is a good that is a good point. Well, as you can see, I have not done that. Right. I'm going with the chaotic, somewhat topical. So I wonder how you organize your books at home. I mean, some people really get into the organization, going down to the Library of Congress, classifications, and that sort of thing. I am just not that organized. No. At least not when it comes to my books. So anyway, well, this chapter 8 is titled To the Uttermost, and I found it very, very encouraging. Not unlike the other chapters, but this, again, chapter 6 was particularly encouraging to me, and this one, chapter 8, I found really encouraging. And it's talking about the intercessory work of Christ. So drawing on, particularly in the book of Hebrews, chapter 7, and here's the quotation, the Bible quotation, it's at the front of the chapter. He, that is Jesus, always lives to make intercession for them. That is, for those that he saved, those that he came for. And this reminded me, as I was reading this, that one of the things that Ortland says is that at the very beginning, this is one of the more neglected doctrines in the church today. And I'm not sure if you agree or disagree with that. Personally, I've found that I've actually been profoundly moved when I've been reading and preaching from Scripture where I've come across this doctrine. That is such a powerful and potent reminder of the work of Christ on our behalf. So just as reading this, I was reminded of that reality. What about you? What got you thinking?
Yeah, so I thought it was really good. When we think of what Christ does for us, or has done for us, when we think of his word, obviously my thoughts and maybe your thoughts are drawn towards the past.
Okay.
The cross, the resurrection, the ascension.
Right.
That's huge. And rightly so. I mean, that's the basis of our salvation.
Right.
And that's a big deal. And I find he makes a good point here in that our thoughts may not be drawn so much towards what he's doing now.
Right now.
Like this second.
Yeah, okay.
In heaven. In the heavenly realms.
Yeah.
What is Christ doing right now? The answer is, he's praying for us. Yeah. He's interceding for us. He's talking to God and praying to God on our behalf.
And that's why it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Those things that you mentioned, right? We're not here without them.
Right.
So we absolutely need them. It is important for us to talk about them, to emphasize them, but this is also important to recognize what Christ is doing for us right now. So that's where I say that, as I think about that, then I'm moved by that reality. That Christ is interceding for me.
I like what he says on page 79 in asking, if we speak of the finished work of Christ on the cross, does the doctrine of intercession suggest that the cross was actually left unfinished? Basically, if there's something for Christ to be doing now, does that mean what he's already done is not enough?
Sure.
And he says, no, the intercession applies what the atonement accomplished.
Okay. Yes.
That it's his prayers for us on our behalf. That's a reflection of his fullness and victory and completeness of the work that has already happened.
And the way I've thought about it and pictured it is, I sometimes hear the accusations of Satan, of the evil one, with regard to my sin. And sometimes the evil one says guilty, and he's absolutely right. I am guilty. Right? I am guilty of sin. I'm guilty of rebelling against the Lord. And then there are times when the evil one says guilty and I'm not, but I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I remember and want to constantly have in my mind is this, not so much image, but this thought, this idea of Christ standing up for me
Mm-hmm.
and saying, much louder than that guilty, innocent.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not on the basis of what I've done, right? I am guilty.
Right.
But it's on the basis of what he's done. So yeah, he says on page 79, a little further down, the atonement accomplished our salvation. So there's that past work. Intercession is the moment-by-moment application of that atoning work. And so that just was so refreshing to be reminded of. And then right after that, he quotes one of my favorite passages of Scripture, Romans 8. He just takes a couple verses 33 and 34, but that entire chapter is gold. But especially, you go down 31 through 38. It's just powerful.
Yeah.
So I just was greatly encouraged, heart and mind, or I should go the other way. What it led me to thinking, and the way it led me to emotionally feeling or recognizing.
Yeah, I think for me, as I was reading, one thing that struck me, just in thinking of Christ interceding for us and praying for us right now, just something that really encouraged me and challenged me, just thinking about, even in our sin, even in the moment we are sinning and rebelling against Christ, He's praying for us. And He is interceding on our behalf, praying for us to be strengthened, praying for us to feel His love, to feel our forgiveness in the middle, the second we're sinning. Like that's when someone sins against me, I don't want to just immediately pray for them.
Sure.
You know?
Right. That definitely
or
goes.
maybe I do want to pray, but Lord, they need help kind of prayer.
Yeah, a certain kind of prayer
Yeah.
for sure. And I do appreciate that he draws out that the intercession of the Son before the Father is not because there's something lacking in the Father either. That intercessory work is further reflection of the Father's love for us.
Exactly.
That He would give us His Son, and that His Son would have this work on our behalf.
And as he says in here, the Father delights to answer His Son's prayers.
Yes, He absolutely does. And so I'm grateful for that.
You know, one quote that he didn't put in here that I thought he would. Quote by Robert Murray McShane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great quote, and it really applies here. He said, If I could hear Christ in the next room praying for me, I would not fear a million enemies. But the distance is... Well, I can't remember the exact quote now, but he said, but the distance doesn't matter. He is praying for me.
Yeah.
So,
it's not... We don't need Him in the next room because we have Him in heaven. Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good paraphrase, right?
Yeah. Look at the original quote. It's really good.
Yeah. Old Scottish pastor. So, no, that's a good one and a good reminder. I also think that within this chapter was a great reminder about my prayer life. All too often, if I'm honest, and we've talked about this before, I think that if I reflect on my prayer life, then I might be apt to get down, to think I've not done enough. And I certainly want to grow in my prayer life. We should have that desire. So I'm not trying to counter that desire for genuine growth and maturity, discipleship. But he's quoting from Louis Berkhoff, when he says, it is a consoling thought that Christ is praying for us even when we are negligent in our prayer life. And I find that actually encourages me to pray.
Yeah. To join Him.
Yeah, to join Him, that's right. And to want to continue to grow and desire that.
And to have that freedom, for when, like you're saying, freedom from the guilt and shame of not praying enough. Well, obviously we want to pray more, but at the same time, He's praying for us.
Yeah.
Even when we fall short, He's there.
Yeah.
Backing us up.
That's right. And so that gives me really kind of an enthusiasm or energy that I wouldn't have if I didn't have that reality. I think that would be lacking, because I think I would have this sense of, or at least be battling this sense of, it's all on me.
Yeah.
And so we see how the intercessory work of Christ, His praying for us, His interceding for us, dealing with our sin to the uttermost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Accomplishing His work really frees me from that. It's not on me.
Yeah.
In fact, Christ took it on Himself. And so everything that He does works towards that end,
Yeah.
right? Our salvation. And so this is just another area that we see that this works. So the actual quotation is that He saves us to the uttermost. Again, from the fuller text of Hebrews 7:25.
Yeah. Well,
So.
yeah. Good news. He's praying for us right now.
Right now. That is
Praying for you right now.
Yeah, good news. So thank you for joining us. As always, if you have feedback, you'd like to let us know how you organize your bookshelves, you want to offer a complaint about how I've organized my bookshelves behind us, feel free to send us an email. You'll see it on the screen in just a moment. And we'll be back next time with Chapter 9.
Thank you.
Thank you.